It is the 7th day of November 2022. A very good evening to you and welcome to Hope TV News Watch. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and on the sign language interpretation tonight is our very own Boniface Murithi. Now, President William Ruto has on Monday held bilateral talks with the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. At the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, President Ruto said Kenya is determined to further cooperation with the UK, particularly in the areas of security in the Horn of Africa, energy, agriculture and infrastructure. At the same time, UK Prime Minister Sunak promised to fast-track new green investments in the country, stating that the UK government will commit 2 billion shillings to a new guaranteeing company that will lower investment risk and unlock 12 billion shillings of climate finance for Kenyan projects over the next 3 years through private investors. Now, the Kenya Airways management has now stopped all negotiations with the striking pilots. As the stalemate entered its third day on Monday, the airline's Chief Executive Officer Alan Kilavuka has asked pilots to return to work or risk being replaced. Tess Njenga with more on the story.
As pilots' strike in the country entered its third day today, Kenya Airways Chief Executive Officer Alan Kilavuka has asked pilots to return to work or risk being fired. Speaking in a press conference, Kilavuka said the pilots will be held individually and collectively responsible for the airline's losses and the repeated damage done to the airline. According to KQ, 25 pilots have returned to work so far, while 132 called in to say they were unable to fly.
We want them first to go back to work with immediate effect before we can have any discussions whatsoever. In any case, like I said, we've already started disciplinary action and we've already started recruiting new pilots. So those who are still interested in working with Kenya Airways should very quickly report back to work with immediate effect.
On the other hand, the Kenya Alliance Pilots Association, KALPA, have asked Kenya Airways to engage them in negotiations with an open mind. Through the association's Secretary General Murithi Nyaga, the pilots said no response has been given to them following the proposal they sent to their employer. KALPA has called on various stakeholders, including the Law Society of Kenya LSK, Central Organization of Trade Union KOTU, and Federation of Kenya Employers FKE to intervene in order for them to resume work.
We continue to urge Kenya's management to meet us at the table and negotiate with an open mind. Management's ego and chest thumping is to the detriment of Kenyans at large. The persistent harassment and intimidation towards pilots agitating for their rights serves more to agonize than inspire confidence that management is concerned about their welfare. This adversarial approach will not achieve our common goal of getting Kenya Airways back to full operation.
At the same time, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi has called on KQ management and the Pilots Association to come to an amicable solution speedily to end the strike. Linturi cited the impact of the pilots' strike on agriculture, saying the country is experiencing losses of up to 200 million daily.
Our country is losing quite some money. I'm told it's around 200 million every day because of the KQ strike. 25% of our meat, I think, is consumed out, is not flying out. 75% is horticultural produce. We have no cargo flights as a country yet. We export so much. I think time has come when we also need to start serious discussions and see how we can be able to ensure that in one way or another, our export does not really must always get serious government support by way of mode of transport.
The ongoing pilot strike has paralyzed flights, affecting over 10,000 customers. Kenya Airways has announced a pilot vacancy in the position of a first officer to support the pilot in command. To be considered for the role, one must have accrued a minimum of 500 hours on a commercial jet aircraft, a bachelor's degree, a valid commercial pilot license, instrument rating, multi-engine rating and performance rating. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you so much, Tess, for that report. We hope the stalemate is gonna be resolved. Now, to education matters now. Remarks by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu over funding in universities seem to hit raw nerves already, with the university's academic staff union UASU now calling on the ministry to resolve the perennial funding problem plaguing public universities once and for all. At a press conference on Monday, UASU members led by the National Secretary General Constantine Wasonga challenged the Education CS to clarify the government's position towards resolving the financial crisis in public university. And as Grace Wangoi now reports, UASU also took issue with the CS Machogu's call on public and private universities to invest more in research and innovation as an additional revenue stream to finance their programs.
Solidarity forever.
Sentiments by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu on withdrawal of education funding for public universities and for universities to invest more in research and innovation as additional revenue streams has drawn a lot of criticism from the public.
Solidarity for
The University Academic Staff Union, UASU, is the latest party to voice its disapproval of the sentiments. According to UASU National Secretary General Constantine Wasonga, although there have been efforts to expand higher education, which has inevitably led to increase in student population, public universities have been operating with inadequate funds and many of them are in debt.
why are Kenyans wasting taxpayers' money on this presidential working party on educational reforms when the Ministry of Education has taken a position that they will no longer fund universities? Then why should we pay taxes? By definition, public universities means they are government-owned. The government should fund them through taxpayers' money. I've also been wondering, why should public universities employees generate their funds and not other public institutions? I think there's a big problem at the Ministry of Education. We don't know who will remove these cartels from Jogo House. We don't know. We thought Machogu could remove them. He has been swallowed. It means now education is going to remain for the rich only. Who will allow him to do that? We will not allow him. Thank you very much.
UASU also took time to question the placement of government-sponsored students in private universities, adding that the move was draining capitation that would otherwise have been used in public universities had the learners been placed there. Former President Kenyatta directed Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service in 2015 to place government-sponsored students to private universities with an aim at expanding access to higher education and provide a chance for more students to pursue courses of their choice.
And as a union, we've been wondering, what informed this? Public universities are struggling, and you take the students that should bring money to public universities and take them to private entities. When the CS, Minister of Education, was being vetted in Parliament, he was asked this question, and he promised to deal with the cartels at the Ministry of Education. We are worried that now the cartels at the Ministry of Education that influence this archaic policy of taking government-sponsored students to private universities are now influencing him again.
The Working Party on Education Reforms, formed by President William Ruto, was tasked to look into issues surrounding tertiary and university education, including possible recommendations on governance and financing frameworks, and recommend legislation to facilitate amalgamation of HELB, TVET and university funding boards with a view of harmonizing and merging all tertiary education funding entities. Wasonga poked holes at whether it was important for the University Union to give their views to the Task Force on University Funding, given the remarks the CS has made.
Do we still go to give our views to the Presidential Working Party that is moving around when the minister has taken a position that they will not fund universities? Another question that I want to ask the CS, you know, if you are appointed to a position like that, you know the manifesto that your party leader sold. When the president was campaigning, he signed a charter with members of the university community.
Grace Wangoi, 4 TV News Watch.
for the union makes us strong.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that report. Now, the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, chaired by Nelson Koech, has today met with the National Defense Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale for a briefing on the deployment of Kenyan contingent to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Committee members who grilled the CS poked holes on the move by the government to send troops to the troubled DRC at a cost of 7.2 billion Kenyan shillings, and at the same time sought to know if the Kenyan government had followed all legal requirements before mobilization of the troops. And moving on, Kitui Governor Dr. Julius Malombe has finally unveiled his cabinet nominees 2 months after he was sworn into office. Addressing a press conference in his office in Kitui County, Governor Malombe said the list of 10 members has been presented to the County Assembly of Kitui for vetting and approval. Some of the Malombe's County Executive Committee members include Ruth Koki Mwanzea for the Health Docket, Engineer Ruben Molwa Itiko for the Roads Docket, with Peter Nkunda having been nominated as the Water and Sanitation CEC.
All nominees have degrees as required under the law, or have the requisite experience to deliver as County Executive Committee members, and are deemed qualified and competent. 4 of the nominees are female and 6 are male, hence the 2-thirds gender rule is appropriately observed. E. The names have been forwarded to the Speaker County Assembly of Kitui for vetting, and once successively vetted by the Assembly, the Governor will issue them with appointment letters and swear them into office.
And that story from Kitui takes us to a first commercial break, but after the break, we still have more news lined up for you, including a tsunami alert at the Kenyan coastline. See you after this short commercial break.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Ensuring good health and promoting well-being of all people is important in building a prosperous society. On Health Check, you get informed and empowered on various medical conditions, their treatment and preventive measures.
When you ignore gum disease, then the same tooth will start to appear slightly longer.
You also get your health question answered live by our doctors in studio.
The medication she's receiving is for the nostrils.
This child should be feeding enough to gain weight.
And you do a little bit of exercise. It even helps with the breast milk.
If you feel like you have an instinct that things aren't quite where they should be for your child, the onus is on you to seek an evaluation.
This is to help you make best choices about your health and your well-being. Stay tuned for brand new episodes of Health Check with me, Grace Mutiso, every Tuesday on Hope TV. Look and live.
Welcome back. You're watching Hope TV Newswatch. Now, Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has urged residents of Machakos County to plant trees in large numbers to help curb the adverse effects of climate change being experienced in the world today. With the country experiencing the worst drought in 40 years as a result of the effects of the climate change, the governors also call on manufacturing companies based in Machakos to reduce pollution.
Hatujawahi kupata drought kama hii. Ile ilipatikana maybe ya mwisho ni 40 years ago. Saa hii kumekauka, mifugo zetu wamekufa. Lazima tuangalie maneno ya climate change. Tuko na food crisis. Hakuna chakula. Chakula sasa ni shida. Tuangalie vile tutaweza kuchunga mazingira yetu. Hii pollution hata ya factories, ya industries, tuangalie pia to reduce. Na sisi kama Machakos County tutaangalia tufanye kazi na wenye factories. Kama kule kuko na pollution to reduce. Tuhakikishe kila mtu kwake nyumbani amepanda mti. Kama hii mvua ukipanda 10, Mungu atakupatia credit ya hiyo 10.
From the county of Machakos, let's now cross over to the county of Mombasa. And the National Disaster Operations Center Director, retired Colonel Charles Owino, has urged residents living along the Kenyan coastline to be on the lookout for tsunami alerts following the climatic changes experienced globally. Speaking during a tsunami drill preparedness exercise at Nyali Beach, where the different stakeholders showed their prowess in handling the crisis if it occurred, the Director Charles Owino said that they have been conducting such drills every 2 years along the coastal strip. However, Owino reiterated the plans to have it annually since the climatic changes witnessed globally are unpredictable and there was need for preparedness if a tsunami was to hit the Kenyan waters.
To ensure that we look at the kinds of assistance that each of us, based on our levels, that we can give. And we will look at those that we can give very fast, We call it those that we can give in phase 1. The easiest items, the most available items, low cost, that we can give them. And then we will proceed on to the more expensive items, those that will require more preparations, more planning, more budgeting, and in that way we will be able to take care of them.
Tungependa washikadau hizi madrills sifanyike kila wakati so that watu wetu waelimishwe na disaster which can happen at any time. You cannot predict a disaster. It can happen at any time. There's a lot of improvement in terms of security hapa kwa beach. I want to thank the KWS kwa ile kazi ambayo wanafanya. The tourist police, they have been doing a great work, seeing to it that hii place hakuna matatizo. For the last 3 years we have not seen any death at all. People have been calm, people have been peaceful. Despite COVID, we've actually had a very peaceful environment. Tourists are coming in. So tunataka kuambia, let's coordinate, let's continue kushirikiana.
Still in the county of Mombasa, and the Mombasa County government has to date managed to shut down 17 out of 32 illegal dumping sites across the county. A move which is aimed to clean the coastal city that has for years been grappling with the issue of illegal dumping of garbage. Immediately after being sworn into office, Mombasa Governor Abdul Somad Nasir announced a 100-day rapid response initiative aimed at getting rid of the city's waste and closure of all illegal landfills.
Trying to encourage community volunteership. Sana ukiangalia hapa waliojitolea wengi sana ni youth. So we are trying to engage the youth who offer their services to the society, and na pia wao tutakuwa tumewa-engage productively.
First, we're doing it because we are part of this community and we want to live and work in a clean environment. As a bank, we are very, very much concerned about our environment, because a clean environment means that we also do business in a good environment.
So what we want, we don't want only West Bins. We want everybody to be involved. Me and you, to make this city clean. Barabara imekuwa rough, na hii barabara ni ndo main road ya kuingilia markiti. Hakuna njia nyingine waweza tumia kuingilia markiti isipokuwa hii barabara. Sasa tunaomba tu, kama vile MCA wetu Abdurrahman ameweza kuleta watu kwa pamoja na outcome ni nzuri kuweza kutufanyia hii cleanliness. Sasa hii tunaomba tu kitu kimoja, hii barabara.
And some news making headlines in the region, and a new round of talks has begun between Ethiopia's government and Tigray People's Liberation Front representatives to work out military and other details of last week's signing of a permanent cessation of hostilities in a conflict thought to have killed hundreds of thousands of people. The meetings began on Monday in Nairobi to discuss the disarmament of TPLF forces in accordance with the peace agreement signed in South Africa. Now, former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is facilitating the talks in Nairobi, exuded confidence that the talks will yield results.
But in the areas also where we had not access, we have to quickly reconnect services, both telecoms, energy, and banking systems. But before that, our people need food first and medicine. And for that, we are trying to expedite, and we are also encouraging regions. The Prime Minister set the tone. We discouraged all corners not to indulge into rhetoric of the past and to rekindle hope and embrace the future.
There are a number of things that need to be done, which are stipulated in our agreement. The provision of services is one thing, and the more services there are, the more confidence there is, the more communication there is, and the more hope and expectation it instills in the people's mind, and that will further consolidate the peace we are trying to put in place. So, like I said, we are committed to honor the commitments we've made, but more importantly, we live to Tadesse and Berhanu to figure out how to implement the agreement we have reached.
The fact that they are here, as they are here, is to give everybody hope that the progress that we expect will be achieved. I seen them and haven't had the type of experience that they have had. I believe that the success is assured.
We started in Pretoria. We are inching our way closer. We are now in Nairobi. We are very hopeful next time we'll be in Mekele for our meeting and ultimately celebrate together in Addis Ababa. This is the prayer, this is the hope, and this is what we seek from our brothers here.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel that they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
Welcome back. You're watching Hope TV Newswatch. Now let's get down to business. Kenya is among 8 countries benefiting from the UNESCO COVID-19 Crisis Response Program aimed at supporting tourism recovery around World Heritage Sites. Already, sensitization of the project in both Lamu and Mombasa has kicked off, targeted at those earning a living through tourism economic activities such as artisanship and tour guiding, among others. According to UNESCO East Africa National Program Officer Judith Ogana, the project is aimed at building resilience in places of tourism interest that was negatively affected because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
So the work that has been discussed and proposed has really come from the communities. What has happened is that the site managers have engaged the community, and that is from the wazers to the young people, to see what it is that they want to change in their sites, and so that we can be able to inject that particular support.
It's our responsibility to ensure that we maintain that status, that we remain on UNESCO's World Heritage List, and most importantly, that we do not lose this unique culture, the architect, the way of life, and the cultural practices, which all of them translate to a very, I should say, outstanding heritage that we have, and which has been passed to us over the centuries.
For cultural tourism, and that goes hand in hand with the activities that you're currently doing. And the question that maybe we need to ask on our side to yourselves is what it is that the county government can be able to do. What would you require for us to do so that we can be able to make this project a success?
Moving on, Diamond Trust Bank has opened a new branch at Likoni, Mombasa, as it aims to reach more customers and support businesses in the vibrant coastal region. The new branch is strategically located at the Likoni Mall to serve the growing number of customers in Mombasa across the channel, from the island to the south coast. Speaking at the new Likoni branch opening, DTB Board Chairman Linus Gitai said they are confident of an improved economy, hence the move to make such long-term investments. I beg your pardon. The Likoni Mall branch becomes the 66th DTB branch in Kenya after the opening of the Greenspan Mall branch in Nairobi on Tuesday last week.
Diamond Trust Bank has been around for very many years, and it is one of the big players in the finance sector of this country. And I am delighted that they are following on the principle of devolution, where they're now devolving from, now like in Mombasa, from the major streets to our neighborhoods.
We really want to focus on being closer to our customers. Everybody is talking about going digital, and DTB is way ahead in the digital journey. But we find that having a branch like this offers an opportunity for conversations, offers an opportunity as a business center to have face-to-face conversations, even as we do the digital journey, even through the mobile phone, which we are quite established.
Now to some sport in action. With the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, are in strategic partnership with different entities to prepare Team Kenya for the 2024 Paris Olympics. NOC has today announced a partnership with two federations whose teams have been nominated to be the recipients of the scholarship program. In support of both the 3x3 women basketball team and Malkia Strikers, NOC has committed 9 million Kenya shillings to the women's team.
Today we are giving out, or we are committing as a National Olympic Committee through the support of the Olympic Solidarity, 9 million shillings towards the support of both the 3x3 basketball team for women and the Malkia Strikers. It's strategic that we've chosen the female teams, reason being the support available. If we present one female team, then we're able to get an additional opportunity for a second team. And therefore, we've done just like we did for Tokyo 2020 to strategically put forward two teams, which are all female teams. Both of them have demonstrated very good performance in the recent international events.
We have been going through a lot of problem in preparation, a lot of stress to the players and also to the technical, and also even the facilities to train was a problem. But with this kind of sponsorship, we will not fail to qualify for the Olympics. And I assure you once again that we are going to start immediately. I believe our federation have a good plan for us so that we can have continuous training before qualifiers. And we are going to use other competitions like All African Games as preparation for the Olympics.
There are committees that have already been set to look up towards the training of these ladies. And as we're going to work towards the series that we're going to go for and the African Championship that is going to be held in December, we want to start working towards making all the girls ready to be able to be ready for these qualifications that are going to come up for the 3x3.
Moving on, the sports and recreation professionals of Kenya have launched the country's first sports professional outfit, which brings together all sports stakeholders with sports-related certification. Speaking in Nairobi, the professionals stated that they have rolled out a massive sensitization and recruitment drive across the country to strengthen the outfit.
Sports in Kenya has continued to suffer bad reputation because of lack of well-laid regulations to govern this crucial sector. It's often said that when we come together, we shall do more. Lack of synergy, selfishness, and poor relations among sports stakeholders has been one barrier in our dream to develop sports in Kenya. Locally, federations are the most times not in good terms with other sports organizations, and this interferes with the activities of sports development in the country. We do not speak with the same voice, and this is exploited to our disadvantage. When we professionalize this area of sports, we find that it is going to be easy to identify talents from the grassroots, and especially now that we have devolution, which is actually going to every village, partnering with the county governments who are actually in the village there, so that the talent can start being identified from the grassroots at a very young age by professionals in that area. And it is going to go all the way to the Olympics level, so that we do not have a Manyala again alighting from the plane and go to run.
We want to hold our members to be accountable, because the issue of governance is what is making some of our federations not to perform well. According to the Sports Act, each federation is supposed to be governed by a constitution. And there are terms that are spelled out within the Sports Act and within the constitution that guides membership. But this association will also have some code of conduct for the members of the association, such that if a member is not transparent in their dealings, they are not accountable, then the association will have even disciplinary committees that would discipline members who have not followed the code of conduct that is given by the professionals.
Now to quite an interesting story. Christ is the Answer Ministries Sitam Kiambu region conducted sports evangelism tournament in Kiambu County on Saturday. The event attracted 10 teams such as Mwangaza from Sitam Valley Road, Futa Fitness, Delta and Montenegro. Our very own Richard Ohalo attended the tournament and brings us the following story.
As part of this Mission Emphasis Month that ended sometime towards the end of September, we thought about how to reach out to the community. And we had various avenues and various ideas that as we were trusting God for how do we reach out with the message of the cross to the community that we serve in. So Gathiga Primary School and Secondary School came to in mind. So we chose to go the route of sports evangelism. And within the sports evangelism, the main agenda of our coming to Gathiga area and the people of Gathiga is to reach to them with a message of the cross and to enable them to come have that time whereby we can engage with them, speak the word of God to them, and share the love of Christ to them. And through this, we've invited several teams, about 8 teams from towards the sides of Gashie, towards the side of those sides of Munyaka, Kanyerere, Wangige. Then we have also our very own from Sitam, that is Mwangasa FC, which is our MO1 or the youth team.
And we are so much happy with what Hope, the teams are doing and the people behind the groupings are doing. Because by so doing, we are removing these people from the drugs, from the grouping that goes out molesting people at night, and even doing all these sorts of evils that they do when they are together, when they are idols. We are also happy that through this, Those who have been selling even drugs are no longer doing that because they are now distracted from that, and they are able to come together and start playing, socializing together, and even learning from one another. We are also happy by the team. These are the home cell groups that have come together and comes to us to start these games. It is through the games that we get people having their lives transformed. They hear the word of God. They learn the better things to do in lives. And from this, we are happy and we can see a transformation of these people from what they used to do to what now they are doing.
What a great initiative right there. Now, let's now have a sports roundup by very own Michelle Macau.
Ben Kalia was crowned the overall winner of the third leg of the DTB Bank With Us golf tournament on Saturday night at the Lash Pass 70 Kericho course. Playing off handicap 20, the Kericho-based businessman carded an impressive 42 Stableford points to claim the title, having registered 1 birdie and 7 pars to beat his closest rival, Roberto de Souza, by 1 point. The fourth leg of the tournament will take place at the Nyanza Club in Kisumu County on 19th November 2022. Still on golf, Thika Sports Club's David Karuma carded a round of 41 points on Saturday to top the leaderboard at the end of the play to claim the Division 1 win of his home club's leg of the 2022 edition of the NCBA Golf Series. The handicap 10 player shrugged off spirited competition from his namesake David Mwangi, who carded 39 points to claim the runner-up position in the category.
We are at the tail end of our series. Today at Thika Golf Club is the one prior to the grand finale that takes place on December 9th at Muthaiga. The winners will look forward to a trip to South Africa to play. I think that's going to take place towards the end of the year.
And finally, Floodlight Tournament defending champions KCB RFC booked a spot in the finals after edging Black Blood 14-03 at Impala Grounds.
We didn't execute as well as we wanted to. There were too many errors, especially in the green zone. But this is something that we need to polish. I think it's a new type of play. It's a new game plan that we are testing. There are bound to be those mistakes, but I think if we are able to polish and execute well, we should be able to get better wins.
KCB RFC will face Nandis in the finals on Saturday as they seek to defend the title. The Floodlight Tournament paves way for the Kenya Cup, which is set to start on the 26th of November 2022, where KCB will start its campaign against Kenya Harlequins. Michelle Macau, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that story. Now, that story by Michelle brings us to the end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Hope TV Newswatch. On behalf of the whole crew, the stellar crew that is, that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a good night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and at the bottom right of your screen has been the very able sign language interpreter, Boniface Mureithi.